Hi there, everybody. It's your pal Jeff back for another weekly learning brought to you from the OnLIA All Hands meeting. For those of you that are new to this segment or have forgotten, I work for a company called OnLIA, and we do online learning and learning communication and all sorts of things for industries and organizations around the world, really. And because we're a learning company, one of the things that we do is we ask people to bring a learning to our weekly all hands meeting every week, and I like to share something from that meeting with you following up every week because I think it's fun. And that learning can be either something that's technical or an efficiency that's related to someone's job, or it can be a fun fact, or it can be a life lesson. And so this week I have a fun fact for you. And if you are a very online person, you probably have already seen this, but I think it's a good one, so I'm going to share it anyway. And that is this: is that if you own one of these things, an iPhone, and you have taken a picture on it, you will know that there is a sound effect, a shutter sound that comes when you take a picture. And last week, this was revealed, or maybe it'd been revealed a long time ago, but it sort of went viral last week, that the sound of the shutter on an iPhone is actually of a 70s analog Canon SLR camera. I'm going to hold this up to my mic, so hopefully you can hear it. There you go. And that's the sound when you take a picture on your iPhone. What it was that the designer for Macs way back in the day thought that when you did a screen capture, it should have a sound. And because he had a Canon SLR camera lying around, as many people did, he decided to record that and make that the sound of a screen capture. And sort of as development, that was your screen cap sound on your Mac for years and years. And then when the iPhone came out, it just became the shutter sound on your iPhone camera, and has continued thusly 30 or 40 years on. And I just thought that was really, it's fun because I'm a camera nerd, but I thought it was also really interesting because the world these days is full of these digital and virtual things that in some ways seem to just be there. They just exist in their virtual way. But the reality is that almost everything that's virtual or digital actually began in the real world. And that's an applicable lesson to us, I think, just from a consciousness level, but also to think about who created things and how did they get into our machines and our devices and onto our social media platforms, and what's the value that we place on that. I say that as someone who is a photographer and a filmmaker, and when we're talking about generative AI, we're talking about who actually does the work and who creates and what is art. But even the things that are sort of mechanical little pieces of the devices we use originated in the real world. So there's a little real world fact for our online platform today. Love to know what some of your all learning is. I'd love to get some dialogue going underneath the post. So if you learned something cool this week, share it with me. I hope everyone's doing well, and we'll see you next week.